Welcome back, gamers of all variety, to some brand new Crossout here with me, Rollin, and we have a host of new changes, new improvements to the game, and then the biggest news is that we're going to be getting Crossout free to play on Steam, and not only that, but PS4 and Xbox here on May 30th. In fact, right now, if you're playing on PS4, you can get the game on a pre-sale by buying one of the premium packs and give it a try before it actually goes live free to play on PS4 or Xbox. So that's super exciting, and it should expand the player base a big amount. So I'm really looking forward to that. That's one of the things that I think is going to really improve this game the most. But there's been so many improvements lately, it's kind of hard to keep up with them all. So we're going to be going over some of those new things. We got a ton of new parts. We have a brand new faction announced called the Stefan Wolves with all new parts and a lot of cool machinery we're going to be seeing in the release. And then we also got some brand new game modes. We got a race mode we're going to be checking on this episode, and we'll be talking a little bit too about the brand new ladder mode if you want to be more competitive. Of course, we had clans added in earlier, so you can play the ladder with your clanmates. And the friend system, a lot of things have been improved, making this my favorite game of its type out there. So I'm definitely looking forward to it. I definitely think this is going to be the next big thing out there. So in this episode, we're going to be looking at some of my new builds and talking about the new balance changes. We'll talk a little bit more about the brand new Stefan Wolf faction that's coming up, and I'll show you the new race mode, which I had a lot of fun with, and is also a great reason now to use the rocket boosters and some of the new improved engines they stuck into the game. I'll be showing you my Leviathan build, which is a way to play the game without even having to be online, which I had a lot of fun with, and we'll be looking at the top 6 creations from the community, so stick around. Welcome back to the Wasteland, ladies and gentlemen. This is my brand new creation here. It's called the Wasteland Sentry. One of my new 4 or 5 vehicles I put together since I've been playing the new patches here. This one here has the machine gun on top, of course, and then we have our heat-seeking missiles, or lock-on missiles, you should say, tucked into the side. Kind of hard to see because they're camouflaged under the grates on the side of my vehicle, but that's the idea. You don't want people to be able to see your missile launchers and take them off really quickly. And then you can position yourself and basically just own people's faces and run off before they come back and rip you a new one. So I had a lot of fun playing this, probably one of my favorite new creations. And then if you're wondering where the paint came from, I got that paint in one of the premium packs. So I should still have this paint when the game relaunches and everybody has a reset here on the 30th of May. But I had a lot of fun playing this, and some of my other vehicles I'll show you too. But let's get into the brand new faction called the Stefan Wolves. So these guys are not in the game as of yet, but they're going to be bringing a host of brand new stuff when the game goes to open beta on the 30th. So we're going to be seeing mech legs for the first time in the game, which should be super exciting. They're a little slower, but they're heavy duty, and they should be epic quality, and something totally different than anything we've seen in Crossout up until now. We're also getting a long-distance howitzer called the Mandroid Kousser. It's going to be an area effect weapon that you have to lead and also give away position, but should do some pretty incredible damage. We're going to be seeing an epic cabin, basically the thing that you have to knock off the vehicle on all these. It's going to give you more structure and all that, and it will be the most tough cabin, but also has the hugest power score, so it's going to be putting you in higher, more difficult matches against other opponents. We got unmanned attack vehicles coming in. Basically, they're called sidekicks, but they're like little remote control kick-ass cars that go and protect you while you're blasting people with the howitzer. And an automatically homed machine gun called the Caucasus machine gun, which should be interesting. And then also missiles that you can steer, which sound really cool. The clarinet tow missiles. So all these things are brand new to the game. We've never seen them before. I haven't even had a chance to see them besides the pictures that they put out. And they've talked also about maybe another faction. I've seen a lot of hints in the game about something that could maybe be called the Ravens. This is all speculation, but I'm wondering if this other faction is some of the artwork that's in the game, like the ravens on the back, the coat, and the masks. Now, I might be totally wrong on that, but we're definitely getting the Stefan Wolves. The other things in the game will probably be revealed at the time of the launch. So I've been saving up for this engine you see here, and I'm going to be showing you the race mode now. Now, I stuck a lot of the Avia rocket boosters here on my new race vehicle, painted it chrome, because, you know, chrome makes everything faster, right? At least that's what I tell myself. But really, I was pretty much getting my butt kicked the whole time here on race mode. I don't have the best rocket boosters, but I had a lot of fun with it, and it's right now one of the best ways to earn some of the scrap that you use in this game to craft your parts. And then if you're skilled enough, you can also get that chest. Whoa! Just flipped myself in a circle. Basically, a crate will be awarded to anybody in first place, too, so that's really cool. But I can definitely see this being one of the modes that I go to kind of have a break from the combat and just have a different gaming experience here in Crossout. And it is pretty compelling and pretty competitive, and I definitely see why it's worth it to save up and get the best rocket boosters. And then also another kind of interesting dynamic of the race mode is that it's a little bit about how many wheels you have on for traction versus how fast you want to go. And I had to do 6 on mine, as I tend to slide around a lot easier, I think, than some of the smaller cars. But definitely having less wheels makes your vehicle a little bit better in the acceleration department. So if you're a really skilled racer, then I would say just try 4 wheels. But I definitely am not as good at racing as I am at the combat part. Though I had some pretty close matches and met some people that were pretty gracious. In fact, this guy here on this match, he actually lets me win the match as we raced several times, and his little car would just kick butt, so he was nice enough to let me jump in here. So let's jump over now to the Leviathans. This is really cool. It's basically a mega creation you can put together and send out to fight other players in some of the raids without having to be online. And then when you come back, you can see how many times your creation has destroyed them and taken down the pump jack, or how many times the other players have come and destroyed you. So this is my creation, my first Leviathan, called the Teutonic Warfloat. And I don't have the best guns in the game. I don't have like epic quality or rare quality weapons, or not rare, sorry, epic quality or legendary weapons. But I do have a lot of epics, I have a lot of rares, and I wanted to put it together in something formidable. So I went for kind of the armor, heavy-duty tank-style vehicle. So I stuck all the tracks on the inside of my vehicle, and then made it so my vehicle can fight in 360 degrees by putting some of the big cannons and the long-distance cannons on top, where they can kind of get anything that's around you. Then on the side, you'll notice that I got my machine guns implanted in there, along with some defensive bumpers and stuff like that to keep people from ramming it. And then a lot of armor, basically, down the both sides of it, along with the center column having both the ammo pack and the larger engine that I picked up out of one of the booster packs, letting this thing move at all because it's so super heavy. Yeah, this thing's about, I think it was 32,000 kg, so super duper heavy. And then it's also got 22,285 power score, which is crazy. And in the structure, 14,410, so it's a kind of a major beast. I used every part I possibly could into it, mostly all on stuff that you really need, except for the horn, I guess is the only cosmetic. So 180 parts, and you see I threw 2 rocket launchers on it. I got 2 of the Spitfire shotguns and the little machine gun turrets on the side, which you saw in action. And then on the top, we got our long-distance weapons to kind of keep people at bay, or if they're fighting at distance, you can fire back at least. Spectre machine gun for people close up, and then I got the big boys, the Fat Mans, which I like a lot. So I'm pretty happy with this, my very first Leviathan, and I've been getting lots of wins with it, and I'd hate to go up against something this formidable in a battle too, because it could just rip people to shreds, and then it has so much armor, it's hard to even see what you're trying to shoot at or find the cabin on this thing if you're going up against it. But people are innovative, and there's lots of creative people out there coming up with powerful concoctions that actually have won against my Leviathan. And let's check out some of my 6 favorite creations in the market now and see who can stand against the might of my Leviathan. That's great. It's probably one of my favorite creations I've tested out so far, and very innovative. Using those epic Avia boosters and the Relic missile launcher was pretty genius. But here's another real powerful concoction. This is the basically replacement to the 100mm cannon, and this thing has a multiple damage dealer, which is kind of cool and new to the game. So every time you hit successfully, it gives you 20% more damage for the next shot, and it stacks up to 6 times. So with 3 of them on this thing's like a super beast. Now, this guy went with kind of an interesting method. He went with 6 wheels on this vehicle to make it very maneuverable, as the cannons don't have a swivel on their own, so you do have to kind of move your whole vehicle. But if you're wondering how can you possibly get through something like this Leviathan, well, this thing is definitely one of the ways to do it. Right there I did over 2,000 damage. But with that 6 multiple and 3 of these cannons, only takes a couple shots placed right. You can find the cabin on this to take out the Leviathan. Now, of course, it's going to be firing back at you, so you're probably going to end up dying once, which is probably why I have about maybe a 50-50 win to loss ratio. But this is definitely a very cool vehicle, so very good job to the author, which I don't see listed there, but good job to you. The MRL88 is pretty badass. Let's check out this barrel plane too. Some of these are just kind of fun to play with. They don't really serve a practical purpose, but hey, you can barrel roll and we'll stick the landing here. So very nice. So thumbs up on that just for creativity. I like all the attempts to make the flying vehicles. Very neat. Let's go with something a little bit more practical now, and I haven't actually played around with these rare rocket launchers as much, but I like the way this guy built his vehicle. The styling on it's really cool with the spears on front and everything. But we got 3 of these rocket launchers on top. Now these are not homing rockets, but they are cheaper to put on the vehicle, and they do really good damage. Let's see, we're doing about 1,000 each shot. And a less expensive part to craft too, so when we get started again in Crossout after the 30th of May, it might be a good way to start out is grabbing some of these rocket boosters. Did a pretty good amount of damage there, and actually not too bad on the Leviathan too, considering it has 14,000 structure. I was able to knock it out in pretty relatively short order. We got those wheels, actually. The big ones now have been moved over to the scavengers, by the way, so a couple changes there. We also got some brand new tires added to the game in the engineers called balloon tires, which I really haven't had a chance to check out. Here's another tank that I dug a lot. I like that it's totally self-contained, sort of like my Leviathan. But again, we're using those miniguns on it, which don't do a lot of damage per shot, but they do so many shots that it still does about the same amount of damage. But it's a good way to just kind of melt enemies. So here I'm just trying to take the cabin out directly. Let's take out my gun real quick there. There we go. Bye-bye, Whirlwind. And pretty good vehicle, good choice if you're going to go into raids and you need to melt a lot of enemies with very little hit points very quickly. So this was made by the user Gigahorse, who had a lot of other really cool creations on the exhibition too. And the exhibition's a great way to save your vehicles, by the way. You have a little less slots in the game right now, but the cool thing is they've added a way where you can, by basically using some of your scrap and wire electronics, increase your slots and also increase how many parts you can hold overall. So the more you play, the more vehicles you can have, and the more parts you can have, too. Now, kind of for our final bonus vehicle here in this episode, we're going to check out our missile launcher truck. I actually do have these missile launchers, so I could probably put this together from his blueprint if I wanted to. But I super like how he did this with the scope on the center and then having a missile launcher left and right protected. Very good idea. These are epic quality missile launchers, and they just do a ton of damage, but you have to have a pretty good aim, so I do like how he has the scope kind of centered in there. And that thing just kicks ass. Anyway, guys, I hope you've enjoyed this little look at what we have coming up for Crossout. I'm really excited about it. If you guys haven't tried out Crossout, you definitely owe it to yourself. If you like the style of game, to try it. Like I said, is my favorite of all of them that I play. And now with all the new changes and additions to the game, and everything coming to us free to play on May 30th, there's no reason not to give it a try. Anyway, thumbs up the video if you liked it, and come see me again here on Gamer Guide channel. Later!